people that show up late or not at all can get their hands on it. All right. So here is the plan for today. We're going to kind of run around the phone call and have everybody introduce themselves. We're going to recap what some of the upcoming conferences are and other REO-related dates to keep in mind. We'll cover what's going on in REO and the industry as a whole. I did actually in that email ask people to think of challenges and issues. So today this may just be a conversation of what we all want to get out of that. But if somebody has a challenge or an issue, we're certainly happy to address it. We got a lot of smart people on this call. And we'll kind of do the training topic discussion that same way. So my goal for this call is to deliver value to everybody. And part of that's going to be participation, and part of that's going to be people bringing their issues or needs or problems or whatever, so we can collectively try and solve them for folks. And then I also want to just confirm that doing it the first Friday of the month is a good idea. If it's not, we can move it around. So with that being said, so I mentioned before we kind of kick things off that I'm going to be very focused on getting us started on time as well as ending on time. That's a courtesy and a commitment, so you can count on it. Also, hopefully that'll incentivize people to show up on time, because we want it to be action-packed and full of value right from the first minute. So hopefully folks can carve time to be here on time. The other thing that I know all of us participate in a variety of, groups and masterminds and those sorts of things. And I can tell you personally that some of my best friends, some of my greatest sort of confidants and allies, they all come from these sorts of groups. And I would love for us to sort of develop that same sort of relationship. The other thing that I'm hoping that we get out of this is a stronger relationship referral-wise. I can tell you literally in the last week, I've given out 3 referrals in other parts of the country, and I actually put a listing on the market yesterday from a referral that I received. All of this literally in the last 4 or 5 days. So that's a unique week for sure for me. I give out referrals as I get them, but that was a kind of a cluster. But I know you guys all do a good job and have agents on your teams that can do a good job. And I want us all to feel that same confidence, because there's a lot of schleps out there and we are not among them. Okay, that's about that. So right now we've got 8 people on the call, including myself. And I just want to kind of go around the table here, and everybody's going to introduce themselves. If you'd share with us the market that you're working in, how long you've been doing this, when you sold your first REO specifically, not just real estate, and just a ballpark of total REOs sold, so we can all get a sense of your magnitude, your personal magnitude. So I will go first. Ed Lane, obviously. I'm in the Seattle market, so I cover the Seattle MSA, but I definitely have clients that use me outside of that area. I mean, I actually have a listing right now through Zome that's 4 hours away from me, but as you know, some of theirs don't require much. So, but basically Western Washington is what I cover. Sold my first REO in 1992, so I've been doing this quite a while. And over that period, I've sold north of 1,000 REOs. So, Jim Clifford is. Who wants to go next? I've got a list of attendees, so I'll just go in the order on that list. So Jim Clifford, welcome, and you get to go next, my friend.
Okay, well, let's see. I started real estate back in the mid-'70s. I probably sold a few thousand REOs over the years. Started my REO with Freddie and Fannie long time ago. My market is the South Seattle down through Olympia. It's kind of the southern part of Seattle, and and South Puget Sound area.
Jim, I have to ask, you got in the 70s. Did you start doing REO straight out the gates or?
1980.
80, okay. Impressive resume, my friend. Very impressive. Fred Law, you're next up.
Well, thank you. I'm Fred Law, the principal broker of Law Real Estate, and we have offices in Salt Lake and in St. George. I started as an agent in 1985, sold my first REO in 1988. Been very active since 1988 in the REO industry. Have a great team. I enjoy being part of our organization and knowing all of you folks, and have a great team and a fabulous staff here. I actually work out of the Salt Lake office currently, but I will be moving in about a year to the St. George area, but I'll be coming back and forth in both markets. But I've sold about 4,500 homes and about 1,500 REOs out of that group. That's what I've done.
Nice. Is the move to St. George on the path towards retirement, or?
Well, I don't think I'm going to retire for about 10 years, but I want to simplify my life a little bit. So I've got a buyer for the office likely, and I'll be just the associate broker in the office and be able to travel and concentrate on my REO business is what I'm planning on doing.
That's a good gig, Fred.
Our market here is, we don't have much REO. We have less than 0.5% of the default rate here in Utah. We really, I used to have 1 to 200 REO listings. I have 5.
I was toying with asking people that question, but then I thought it might be too depressing.
Well, it's pretty depressing. I've got skinny grandkids. I used to say skinny kids, but now I got grandkids that are trying to grow.
You need to feed them. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Ed.
The rest of the callers are just showing up as phone numbers. So if we haven't heard from you, why don't somebody decide to go next? I can't.
You want to hear from somebody from Illinois?
Sure.
All right. Frank Denovi. And I'm in on this call just to hear what's going on over there for my region. And I've been in the business since 1988, about 30 years. Sold my first REO in 1988 also, and that's all I've sold for the last 30 years. So I've got about, we just did the numbers, figured out the other day, about 11,000 REOs and about over $1 billion.
Nice.
Since I started, so it's been a long ride. I can tell you one thing about Illinois, or the Midwest market, Illinois especially, it's terrible. Our market is, we had growth, home appreciation of 2%, lowest in the country. And there's more people moving out of the state than moving in, and we are financially in a lot of near bankruptcy for the state. So that's where we're at, but we are seeing an uptick in REOs just a little bit, but the average sales price of an REO is higher than the average sales price of a home here.
Really?
Home. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's
unusual. Yeah. Plus the inventories we're getting in here is much the average sales price. Now this might not be a lot for you guys, but it's a lot for us. The average sales price now for my inventory is over $300,000 right now, which is it used to be $175. Yeah,
that's a lot.
To give you a little idea, the high end stuff's all coming in. For us is 4 to on up is the higher end stuff, So, but that's about it.
Frank, I think
to see what you guys are doing.
Frank, I think the people leaving Illinois are coming to Jim and my market because we have 1,100 people moving to Seattle a week right now.
Oh yeah, Seattle's butt kicking. Yeah, that's great. That's.
But it creates its own problem too. So, all right. Well, we're gonna let in the interest of finishing on time, we're gonna let the shy people lay in the weeds and be silent. So let's move on to kind of what's coming up on the calendar. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm a PowerPoint guy because it allows people that participate in calls like this to take pictures of screens. So If you haven't been to the calendar events section of the USREOP site, it's an awesome site. You can look at it in calendar view or list view or whatever. So if you're ever wondering what's coming up, definitely go there. This information is all from there. Are anybody on the call an NRBA member?
I'm an NRBA member, but I'm not going to the conference next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
Too busy with other things, but I was invited by Mike, but I can't make it.
That's Fred, right?
That's Fred. Yep.
Yeah, so that's coming up. It's still in Broomfield?
No, it's going to be in
No,
Vegas.
it's in Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas.
It's in Vegas.
Even
I've been
better.
an NRBA member since 2004, so I know that organization really well. And
Yeah.
And was that that beautiful young lady from San Diego on the line?
It sure was. It sure is. His was, yeah.
It was. She's still beautiful, and she's still in San Diego.
Oh, nice.
So I think it's it.
Always.
The mother of it all, yeah.
The mother of it all. How are you, Mary?
I'm doing fabulous because I'm on your call today, Ed. Thank you for setting it up for us.
You lucky, lucky gal. No need to thank.
I want to hear if we've got Hillary Marks. Are you on the call? Speak to me, Hillary. Mike Novak Smith, are you on the call? Caroline Gim? See, we've got some really great people that could be sharing some information with the others on the call that have some really hot information, and that I'll have to converse with after this call, who have some great insight they could be sharing with our members today. So I'm a little disappointed that we don't have them on, and I'm not trying to take you off your topic right now. Oh, you know what? I'll save it for a little bit later. But I want to tell you, Ed, I have to jump off a little bit early for another appointment that I have. Okay, so let me say this. Frank's talking about people leaving Illinois. I don't know if you all have seen the article about the people leaving New York and California in droves because of tax issues. And I'll send you an article, Ed, if you want to send it to everybody in the region, about the number of people leaving California. And it's astounding. So we should be having a hot market. If it's not REO, it's going to be traditional. So one way or another, we have a lot of properties coming to market based on people leaving the state. So there should be a lot of opportunity. In addition to, I don't know if anybody follows the reverse mortgages, but the West Coast is so hot with equity. You know, we're the #1 with reverse mortgages. So there's a lot of opportunity there right now as well. So just wanted to throw those two pieces of information out. And again, I don't know if we've got any members that would like to share a little bit about that as you go through the call. But I'll send some articles over on both of those topics. I mean, it's really important information, I think, for our members to know.
Definitely.
So sorry to butt in and mess your call up.
No,
thank
that's
you, Mary.
close.
This is Fred. Did you say they're leaving California?
Yeah.
They sure are, big time.
California and New York.
Yep.
Wow, we have a real influx of people coming into Salt Lake and Utah. Our median price range of a home has increased in the last 3 years over $100,000.
See that, and that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't afford it if you stay, and you get taxed to death. Or you can sell in the hottest market in decades and squirrel away that windfall and move somewhere where you can buy a nice house for $300,000.
Yeah, a lot of my Chase friends, when they closed Chase down in 2013 here in San Diego, took the equity from their homes and bought free and clear, and a lot of them went to Washington.
Yeah,
So I'm just
that's what I did.
You know, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I have a client. I'm going to list his house later this month that's moving to Michigan, and he's going to get close to $900,000 for a kind of a shoddy old split level in a not so great neighborhood, and he's going to go pay all cash for a house on a lake with a circular drive. And I'm like,
yeah,
hard to argue. Yeah, so that is good info. That's probably why most of those folks you rattled off being in California are not on the call, because they're out listing properties. So, upcoming events, REOMAC, their next dinner meeting is in July. The 5-Star Conference, you guys are all aware, is in September. I'm actually, if you haven't already registered, I got a discount code yesterday, so I'll email that out. Mary, when you send me that article, I'll include the discount code as well in case people haven't registered yet.
Okay.
And then, Mary, I know you had some inside information about the December REOMAC dinner meeting. Has that been settled yet, when and where they're going to do it?
I haven't heard that part of it yet. I think I have a date. I'll send that to you as well so you can include it, because we want to do our Western Regional meeting at that time as well.
Okay.
We're trying to set up Florida right now for May 20th to coincide with the IMN. I think Angela put that on our calendar. We're also going to do a Northeast and a Central Regional meeting before the end of the year. So what we're trying to do this year is we're bypassing all of the conferences except in terms of booth, with the exception of the 5-Star, and we are going to have a booth there, and we are going to do a charity event like we do every year. Probably St. Jude, I think, is still our charity that we're going to be supporting again this year. So from that standpoint, it's business as usual for us. So we are going to continue on, doing what we do. But this year I had talked to the board about how important it was for us to support the members and bring the clients to the table for the members. And I saw the list of the NRBA panel and who's going to be at their lender roundtables. We're looking to bring some different people to the table than the ones that are coming there. I will say that we did a luncheon at the REOMAC conference. I think some of you maybe sitting on the call silently were there, and I will tell you some people did get business from attending our lunch. And some of them I just found out about actually the other day when I talked to some of the people on the call that had been at the luncheon. So I can only say that we still continue to deliver. So I'm happy people were able to make contacts at the lunch. We had Faye there. We had SN Servicing from Northern California. We had, of course, Molly Merchant was there. We had City Best, who's a client I've been courting for the last year. We've got people that are getting listings from these clients that are a little bit lower profile than some of the obvious. So just saying, that we continue to bring some clients in that you may not be acquainted with, and some that you are. Faye Servicing was someone that was at our lunch, and someone got a listing from Faye. So I was absolutely delighted, and she's actually right down the street here from me. She's about 15 miles away. Their big office isn't in Chicago, which a lot of people think. Their big office is in Tampa, Florida. So I would love it if I could romance them into coming over to our workshop on May 20th in Miami Beach. We'll see. I'm trying very hard and praying very hard. So if you people pray, please pray that, that I can get Glenn Brooks to agree to send someone over to our workshop. That's what I'm working toward right now. I am going tomorrow afternoon.
In Florida. Sorry.
Pardon me?
But I've been to that office in Florida. That'll help you.
Yeah. I'm going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow afternoon. I have meetings Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with all of the government agencies trying to get some business secured for USREO partners. So I understand they have business. We have meetings set up with the significant decision makers for the agencies there, so we can get something going with them. I haven't personally met the people. I'm going to be introduced, and we do have meetings scheduled. It's not just to go in there and keep our fingers crossed. It's carved in granite. So when I get there, we're going to see what we can get. So just throwing out there for you all, I know there's a couple of our members that in fact, someone who set up the meetings for me actually got 2 listings while she was setting up the meetings. So there's some opportunity there for us. I'm going to try and get it locked in for our organization. So I know there's not a lot out there. We're kicking over all the rocks, trying to find out, who's got it, even if it's a small portfolio. Can we get it for USREO partners? So just letting you know that, we're not giving up on anything, on any avenue. Let me say this too, if you're signed up with Acceleris, something that came out, if you read my email at the Northeastern call, when you sign up for REOs, if you go in and look at that screen, apparently according to Bob Hubler on the right-hand side, you can sign up for short sale work. If you haven't done it, go back in, sign up for the short sale work also. and somebody got a listing from that. So make sure that you go in there and you're fully signed up, and you've got the short sale module indicated as well. So that's why these calls are really important. The things you learn from the calls, it's stunning when the members share. So I just want to throw that out there too.
Yeah.
I gotta get all my stuff in, Ed, before I have to hang up. Okay.
No, I appreciate that. I was just going to reinforce your point, because you can't overstate that. A lot of these opportunities are first mover opportunities. So if we can be very efficient in spreading the word internally, then most of our folks can get in before they go, oh, okay, we got enough. We're set.
Yeah. And one of the members in the Northeast also mentioned that he had gotten some business from a couple of the hedge funds that are using that system. When Hillary and I were actually talking about this last night, there's a couple of smaller funds with whom I was not acquainted, and neither was she, that are using Accelerus. And it may be that some of the funds are interested in that system for whatever reason. It's a word of mouth, perhaps. So you might look around in there. There was one RTC Ranch someone got a listing from. So there's a few on there that are looking for brokers. So if you're not using the system, I'm not trying to promote Michael Harris's Accelerus, but if you're not in there, you might. It's $300 a year. Jim Stephens helping me approach Mike Harris, trying to get a discount for our people. $300 is the premier broker. There's a lesser option. I think it still gives you the same exposure. I'm not familiar with the system myself. I'm not registered in the system, but you guys might want to just take a look at it. I mean, if there's business coming from that system, $300 a year is not bad. I'll work on Mike some more myself and see if I can get him to commit. And I'll reach back to Jim Steffen again to see, hey, Frank, you haven't heard anything from Jim on that at all, have you?
No, not yet. I got to call into him anyway about something else, so I'll ask him about it.
Okay, because I'll call Michael too and see if maybe I can. I've known Mike for about 25 years, and see if maybe he'll work it for us. But if we could get something off for the people who aren't using it, even it would be really great. So just saying, we're working on that. But
doing the Accelerus?
He's got his properties in Accelerus, as does SPS, and now some of these other funds using it as well. So somebody got a listing out of the blue from this RTC Ranch.
Well, one thing I want you to know is my business partner, or my real estate partner here, was a senior asset manager at SPS, and he is actually going to the 5-Star Conference with me this year to get exposure. Because if and when I decide to take it easy, he's going to be carrying the flag. And so all of you that don't know him, David Ruff, I don't know if you've known him in SPS days. He's been with me for 8 years now.
We're in there.
But he will be at the 5-Star this year, so make sure you look up, say hi to Dave, because he's going to be. I'm going to urge him to also join USREOP to be part of the group. Secondly, have you all been called by Bob Segmith? He had a short sale program that he was promoting.
I have not.
Do you want me to try to get some information, everybody, on that? Because I had a webinar with that, and I forget the name of the firm, but are you aware of that, Mary?
I heard about it, Fred, and somebody else sent me an email also. But the person that sent me the email was looking for a 30% referral fee. And that was the part that concerned me, because I think that they were HUD files. And I wasn't comfortable with passing that information on a 30% referral fee on a HUD file. I don't know that that's legal. And you guys would have to speak to that. Pardon me?
Yeah, let me look into that a little bit, and I'll try to inform you guys when I know more about it. I did do a quick webinar because it was about getting assignments for short sales, and I think there was a HUD angle to it. So I'll look into that, Mary, and let everybody know what I find out, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure people would like to have the information. I just don't want to pass something on that's not and I love Bob. I know Bob very well, but it came from someone else, not from Bob. Well,
Bob called me directly, and because he was my asset manager at IndyMac years ago. but I'll look into that and I'll let everybody know. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks. Thanks.
Send that out
Fred.
if it's if you verify that it's a decent opportunity and legal, I should say.
Right.
All right, so we kind of already had our REO update, right? Although I can tell you that just in the last week, I've read numerous articles and been asked about the bubble that's looming, and I've also seen articles and videos about how home values are going to continue to rise dramatically, and this is all part of a greater cycle. All that proves to me is that a lot of people don't really know, and that we are in somewhat uncharted territory. But here's what we do know. We all know that the Fed's predicted to raise rates 3 times. You know, they wrapped up a meeting this week, decided to hold them steady. But their next meeting is next month, so they're likely to raise them again there. We also know in our market, well, nationally, there's 4.5 months of inventory, right? And you guys all know that a balanced market would mean 6 months of inventory. So we're in a seller's market most of the country. In my market here, the Puget Sound region, which is the MSA, has 2.5 months of inventory, and King County, where I sit, has 3 weeks of inventory. So as rates rise and sellers become motivated to take advantage of a hot market, you have these 2 intersecting lines. The problem is those lines are years apart. You know, certainly in my market, to go from 3 weeks of inventory to get back to 6 months of inventory is going to take years. And I've actually started seeing, you know, six months of inventory has been considered a balanced market for decades. Now all of a sudden it's being quoted as 4 to 6 months of inventory because people are skeptical, I guess, that we'll ever get back to 6 months. Long story short, most of us have seen a sharp decline in our REO inventories, and we've had to move into some level of retail business. And to me, that sort of is a good segue into sort of the next topics on the agenda, because if we want to, and I'm not suggesting that we need to do this, I'm offering to help with it if the group wants it. We can do a lot of things to help folks grow their businesses in areas other than REO. I'm a big believer in REO. I continue to maintain an REO department. I know default rates are under 1% right now, but over a 50-year average, they run at 5%. So we all know it's going to come back. But in the meantime, if you want to grow more of a retail business, my firm sells hundreds of homes a year retail, and we are lead generation sort of masters, and we coach brokers all over the place in how to do it. And I'd be happy to offer those sort of insights and services to this group for free, because I like all you folks and I want to help in any way I can. So what I want to ask is, what would you all like to get out of a monthly call from a either solving challenges or issues, or getting new tools and systems to implement in your business? Or do you want to just focus exclusively on REO and what we can do to grow that business?
Well, this is Fred. My input on that is I would like to grow my REO business, but it's hard to get business when there's no business to be had here.
Right.
And the problem that we have is I have stressed for years and paid all my dues monthly, when a lot of people both on USREOP and NRBA have left because they don't want to pay the monthly fees, because they don't have value. I perceive having great value with USREOP, but I'm still being patient, realizing that with all the work that all of us are doing together and individually, along with the board of directors and Mary, that it will come back around.
Right.
And so I'm being patient, but I've had to go out and start doing retail. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to keep the doors open. And that's the problem. I have not let go of staff, which many of my competitors here have let go of staff. But I have not done that. I have continued with my staff, and I still have a great group that work with me, and we're just hoping that we will see an influx of business. And I think in this market, I think we're about 18 months away is what I perceive. Our rate of inventory, we're about 3 weeks to a month and a half of inventory.
Yeah.
We are such a hot market here. We have everything under 300 has between 5 and 20 offers on it. Anything above 4 takes a little while to sell. Our medium price range is about 300 now. But that's our market. But I think it's coming back. It always has. Since I've done this since 1985, I've seen 5 market changes. So I can't imagine it won't happen again.
So just to paraphrase for you, Fred, then it's, yeah, some retail info would be helpful, but we obviously are not going to abandon or ignore REO. I never intimated that. In fact, we've done the same thing you've done, which is, shifted our business while not letting go of any staff, because it is going to come back. But at my peak, I had 205 listings in 73 cities, and today I have 3. So we've replaced that business with a lot of different tools and systems and approaches. So I just don't want, Frank said earlier, 30 years exclusively REO. So, he's not a regular on this call, but it would be a waste of his time to talk about, lead gen systems for listings or something like that. How do the rest of you feel?
I don't see how you can survive without it.
More information.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jim. Anyone else? I mean, we got 9 people on this call, but it's just 4 of us.
I think it's this is Loretta. I think it's a great idea. We should do it. Any kind of learning is going to help us with any facet of our business, including REO.
All right, then that I will take that as our plan. If you disagree and just don't want to chime in, please, just email me privately and we can have a conversation. So that will be the plan then. I'll try and bring a training topic. If, we have a month between calls, so if you ever have an idea in between that you'd like to see us discuss, just shoot me an email and I'll add it to the agenda. We can train on multiple things if we want. The last thing I wanted to discuss is simply, is the first Friday of the month a wise day to do this? Was it difficult for folks? Loretta, awesome to hear your voice. I know you were going to try and get on, but you had a conflict. Should we stick with this?
Yes, absolutely. I'm
I
okay
think
with
it's a
it.
good time.
Yeah? All right.
Friday, it's easier for me than any other day, so.
Good. Me as well. So I'm glad to hear that. I was actually living in fear that you guys would be like, no, actually. Anyway, so all right, we'll just stick with it.
The only thing I would say, Ed, is if we have a holiday that weekend, we might want to move it to a different day. But
Yeah, good point.
some people like to leave Fridays if there's a Saturday or a Friday
Yeah.
holiday.
Yeah,
Other than that, on normal dates, I think it's good.
I was thinking of that when I was plugging in my calendar, and the 4th of July, I figured would be the first problem, but it actually falls on a Wednesday this year, so it's sort of 6 of one, half dozen the other. But I'm with you there. We'll adjust accordingly. So, all right. The only other thing was to just get my contact info out to folks. If you didn't already have it, you're welcome to shoot a picture of the screen. But that is all I have on the agenda for today. So is there anything that you would like covered, problems you're having, connections you want help being made because there's an asset coming in your market and you don't know how to get in the back door or whatever?
Well, one question I have, Ed, is how do I take a picture of the screen? I've never done that.
If you hit function print screen on your keyboard,
Okay.
if you're on, or if you have your cell phone in your hand, you can do it that way as well.
Well, I want to be fancy like you.
Give the illusion of
Start
technology.
wearing a tie and a white
Function,
shirt.
Split screen, and
That's right.
does that go right to my desktop then when I do that?
It's on your clipboard now. So if you go to Word or some other place and hit Control V as in Victor, it will paste that image into whatever you pasted into.
Okay.
Hey, Ed,
All
do you
right.
know if Zoom's sold their zip codes for their program for the auction?
You
their
know,
advertising?
I don't. I plugged mine into their site and it was available, and then I haven't been a huge fan of Zoom, so I wasn't sure if I was going to buy it, but they
What were they asking for it?
What's that?
What price were they asking?
I think it was a couple hundred. It might have been $299 or something like that.
It's not too bad for your
Hey,
zip
folks,
code.
I've got to leave, like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to sign off, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Those of you that have to go, have a great day. I did record this, so if anybody needs it, I will have it, and I'll probably send out a link later. All right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ed, you and Jim sure look good this morning.
We dressed for the occasion.
Well, you did it.